I hadn't expected to see her that night. But of course, my sister never turned down a chance to perform, especially when I was the audience. It was our grandmother's birthday dinner. Polished silver, fake smiles, crystal glasses, and tension so sharp it could slice through the linen. Everyone was there, even the people I'd erased from my life 2 years earlier. I walked in calm, deliberate. My silence was louder than any of their empty greetings. But I felt it, the crackle beneath her grin, the glint in her eyes. She was waiting, and I already knew what for. Once, she had been my reflection, my closest friend. When our parents twisted affection into control, she'd whispered, "We'll escape someday." I believed her. I carried her secrets, shielded her lies, forgave her betrayals as they started to grow. First rumors, then manipulation, all designed to keep me beneath her. When I finally left that toxic house, she called me a coward. When I stopped returning her calls, I became selfish. And when I built a life of my own, she decided I was a fraud. It began with strange messages, anonymous accounts asking too specific questions about my work and home. Then a friend sent me a thread online, filled with people speculating that I was faking my success. The phrasing was too familiar. It was hers. That's when I realized she wasn't just envious. She was fixated. She'd hired private investigators to dig into my life, to expose me, all to prove the family's favorite lie, that I couldn't survive without them. So I gave her exactly what she wanted, a show. I didn't confront her. I didn't offend myself. I let her think she was in control. Because the thing about hiring investigators is they follow orders, and I knew how to make sure they followed mine. 2 months before that dinner, I reached out indirectly through a friend who worked in private security, the same firm my sister had hired. I requested a full report on myself. Career, assets, property, everything legitimate and verifiable, but with one small change. The client's name on the file wouldn't be hers. It would be her husband's. By the time the dinner arrived, I had rehearsed the moment in my mind 1,000 times. The room glowed with soft gold light, filled with a hum of polite laughter. Grandmother smiled like an aging monarch, holding her kingdom together with sheer grace. Then my sister stood up, her voice honey-sweet. Before we cut the cake, she said, "I thought we should all hear something interesting." She gestured toward the doorway. A man in a tailored suit stepped in, carrying a briefcase and a professional smile. The investigator. My pulse stayed steady. This was the moment I had written for her. He placed the report on the table. The room fell silent. "Everything about our dear prodigal sister," she announced. "Let's finally see the truth." Grandmother's brows knit. My mother leaned forward eagerly. The investigator opened the file. The first page, assets, business ownership, property, and investments, numbers that made my mother's expression tighten. The next, articles, awards, accomplishments. Proof that I hadn't just survived, I'd succeeded. Then came the last section. The investigator cleared his throat. Client information and related findings. Everyone leaned in. The client, Mrs. Laura Bennett, has been under review as part of a connected investigation into unauthorized use of marital funds to employ private investigators without her husband's consent. The air shattered. Her husband turned to her slowly. "What?" She went pale. "That's not true." But it was. Every payment, every fake name, every receipt documented, traceable, irrefutable. The investigator, oblivious of the chaos he'd just unleashed, kept reading. Additionally, multiple attempts to fabricate evidence of fraud against the subject were traced back to Mrs. Bennett's personal devices. Grandmother gasped. My mother whispered her name, horrified. Her husband stood, silent. My sister's face collapsed under the weight of exposure. She left before the cake was served. The frosting melted untouched. No one met my eyes. Maybe because for the first time, they understood what silence could do. I stayed until the end, thanked the waiter, lifted my glass with a steady hand. When I stepped outside, the night air felt lighter, cleaner. I wasn't escaping anymore. I was walking through what I'd built. They had called me a liar, but the truth had found its own voice that night, louder than all their noise combined. People say revenge doesn't heal. Maybe it doesn't, But sometimes it doesn't need to. Sometimes it just reminds them that the quiet ones are always the ones writing the final chapter.